Hi, my name's Alan Lepofsky. I'm Vice President and Principal Analyst at Constellation Research. This video is my review of the Salesforce Dreamforce 2013 Keynote. Unlike most tech conferences, the first 45 minutes of this event had very little to actually do with the company's products. Sure, there were standard marketing numbers about being number one in this category and number one in that category, but primarily the opening focused on the ways that Salesforce and Mark Benioff are doing things to help the world. Mark had a great quote in this segment where he said, "The best drug I ever took was philanthropy." I love that. I think that's pretty good. And that philosophy is sort of permeates through everything the company does. He talked about Salesforce's 1-1-1 philosophy, where they donate 1% of their time, their equity, and their products to worthy causes. He highlighted that the fact they have over 500,000 hours of community service that the staff at Salesforce or employees at Salesforce has put in, and they've given more than $50 million to various grants. And finally, a really impressive stat, they've given away their software to over 20,000 nonprofit organizations, and I think that's fantastic. He then talked about the University of California San Francisco Children's Hospital. This is something that he donated $100 million to a few years ago, but he gave updates as to the progress of that hospital being opened in 2015. My wife is a neonatal physician, so working with children, so this children's hospital is something that really touched me. Perhaps the most important or powerful part of the morning segment is when Mark actually welcomed former supermodel Petra Nemkova, I hope I'm getting her name right, and the Prime Minister of Haiti to the stage. Petra recapped the horrific story of how she survived the Haitian tsunami that sadly took the life of her fiance. And now that and the story is about how Salesforce is working with her in her new foundation, the Helping Hearts Fund, that helps to rebuild the lives of children who have survived natural disasters. The Prime Minister of Haiti then followed suit and talked about how Salesforce is helping them, or being instrumental actually, in organizing the Haitian relief efforts that are going on. I thought both of these were really powerful stories, and it was nice to see Salesforce talk more about things than just market share and technology. But then, of course, being a technology conference, they did have to shift gears, and that's when they started to talk about the big theme of this year, and that's the Internet of Connected Customers, or the Internet of Customers. In short, what that means is that in the future, all sorts of devices are going to be connected to the internet. Common terminology for this is the Internet of Things, and people talk about the 50 billion devices that are going to be connected. Cameras, airplanes, even construction equipment is going to be connected to the internet. And what's important, and what Salesforce is pushing, is the fact that behind every one of these devices is a person. It could be a friend, a family, a customer, a prospect, a partner, etc. But by collecting data from all of these devices, we're going to know more about each other. We're going to know more about the processes that are happening. We're going to know more about things that we have to be warned about. Ideally, we're going to make better decisions. And at the extreme, we're even going to live healthier and longer lives. So this information is going to help in all sorts of interesting ways. Now, to enable these connections, Salesforce introduced their new platform, which they're calling Salesforce1. Essentially, Salesforce1 is an upgrade to their existing platform. They say they've done a substantial amount of rewriting of the code for two primary things. One, to be focused more on mobile, and two, to have developers get access to a lot more of the features and functions and data inside the platform. What that means is they've created about 10 times as many APIs for the geeks that are out there. Now, to showcase how Salesforce1 works, they did 3 demos in the morning. The first demo was about the Salesforce1 Service Cloud. This demo showcased how Philips has enhanced their MRI, their imaging machines, their echocardiograms, to allow technicians to get better support when there's issues with the machine. So when the machine breaks, they can just push a button that says get help or get support. That machine actually logs a trouble ticket back in Philips CRM or trouble ticket system. A technician or a support person can then look at that trouble ticket. They can immediately dispatch someone that's closest to the hospital to fix that machine. And the demo went on to even show really cool things like how Via the Go Instant acquisition, the support person can screen share with the technician, showing them what they should fix live right there on site. In this example, the technician was even wearing Google Glass, so they were able to take photos and send those photos right back to the chatter stream and have conversations around them. It was pretty neat. The second demo was about the Sales Cloud and how ADP uses it to win deals. In this example, they showcased the day in a life of a sales rep. It involved showing how CRM data is available to people inside the office on their computer or on a mobile device, or even in this case, running on a smartwatch. This was one of Sony's smartwatches, and how that enables real-time access to information about prospects, about customers, about location, about where you go for meetings, all sorts of really interesting things to help with the sales cycle. The third and final demo of the day was about the Marketing Cloud, or what they call now the Salesforce1 ExactTarget Marketing Cloud. It showed how Sony is improving the overall customer experience for their gamers. It was really neat. They showed if you're playing a game and you achieve an award, how that award can actually be taken out of the game and brought more into your real life. So you can have notifications, that you've won an award sent to you in email and things like that. But more importantly, now that Sony starts to know that information about you, they can use mobile apps and do things like, based on your location, recommend, well, where you are, there might be a customer experience nearby that you want to go do. And the example they showed is you're walking around and all of a sudden your phone tells you, hey, if you walk over to this bus stop just a few blocks away, there's an interactive gaming experience that you can have. And so they showed this person go over. They held up their phone to the bus stop. It knew who they were. It knew the games they played. It knew their photo, their avatar, and it allowed them to have a really engaging experience with that. Overall, I liked all the demos. They didn't focus a whole lot on the technology. Instead, they focused on what I think was important, and that's the specific business outcomes that the customers wanted to achieve in each of those situations. The first was improving service and allowing those technicians to get those MRI machines running faster. The second was around sales and closing sales deals. And the marketing example was really about improving the way that Sony engaged with their customers. I liked each of these examples because they're what I refer to as purposeful collaboration. It's not just about, hey, let's have all these tools and people could share information and they can, get more done and they can be more productive. These were actual use cases with specific objectives and business goals behind them. However, that said, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more focus on internal employees, how Salesforce can help people find the colleagues and the content they need, how they can use Salesforce's tools for collaboration, whether it's creating pages and status updates and file sharing and screen sharing and all the things. I would have liked to have seen the collaborative aspect a little bit more about how people can be productive, how those tools can help people enhance their performance and how they can do better in the company and accelerate their careers. So I did like the talks, but again, my personal coverage area is a lot around employee collaboration, not the external marketing sales side. So would have liked to have seen a scenario. If they wanted to keep that scenario around connected devices, imagine a scenario inside an office where whether it's walking through the front door and the device the door knowing who people are and routing you to your office or telling you you're late for a meeting, or going into a meeting room and having everything from the projectors to the staplers to the chairs knowing who you are and adjusting to your height, or all sorts of interesting experiences that could happen on employee collaboration that I think would have been really neat. But who knows? Maybe that'll be for the next demo. All right, in closing, I think the overall keynote did a good job in getting people to understand and start to think about what connected devices mean and the endpoints and having people behind those, getting people used to this terminology, the Internet of Things, or in Salesforce's case, they're talking about the Internet of Customers. I think that, behind every one of those devices, there's a relationship with those people. Some of the examples Mark used are things like returning to a bookstore and being known as a customer, or even your dentist knowing your brushing habits because your toothbrush relays that information to them. In all of those cases, I think the end result is going to be a better experience for people. I think it's a good vision. But I think now that the keynote is over, it's time to get down to the details about how things are priced and packaged and licensed and delivered and supported and all of those things that really actually matter to the customers. So now that, once Dreamforce is over this week, it's going to be interesting to get down to the nuts and bolts of this. So if you'd like to discuss any of these things, I'm Alan Lipo on Twitter, and I'm always happy to engage with you. Thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you next time.